welcome back to my channel. Brought you a little bit closer, so we'll try this angle today. Sometimes I have you here, sometimes I have you over there. Working with the camera still with my new setup. So anyways, today we are going to be talking about some of the oldest makeup in my collection. I have this stack here. I have a bunch of stuff in here. And I'm going to talk about expiration dates, how long you should keep stuff. It's kind of at your own risk with a lot of this stuff. But yeah, if that sounds interesting, stick around. If you are new, welcome. Take a moment, hit that subscribe button. Okay. And yeah, so originally I was gonna put all of this on my face, and I just don't feel like putting makeup on. It's been kind of warm, not super warm. I live in Arizona. It's been like barely 100, which isn't bad, especially for the end of June, but there's been a lot of stress. And I'm somebody, when I get stressed or anxious, I get sweaty, and then I don't feel like putting makeup on because I'm sweaty. And my kids have been sick, not all of them, just the two youngest ones, which is bad enough. But I'm just going to talk about the products, and I'll show them to you. And then with like the eyeshadow palettes, if you want to see me do a look with these, I can. So leave me those comments down below, and I will definitely do a dedicated eye video with some of my oldest palettes. I have used these within the last year, so I'm not opposed to doing that by any means. This one isn't as old as the electric palette, but so yeah, if you want to see an eye video, I can definitely do that. But yeah, we are just going to jump in to the products, and I'll talk about expiration dates and all. So I apologize for the long intro, but it is what it is. So we're going to jump into the products. I'm somebody that suffers from anxiety, and I probably shouldn't drink coffee, but I like coffee, and I also don't sleep really well. So with little kids, I kind of need the coffee, but then I drink too much coffee, and then it makes my anxiety worse, and it's this whole like snowball effect. So I'm gonna drink some water. Hopefully that'll help. Try and simmer down a little bit. My anxiety is a little bit high, if you can't tell. Okay, and again, I had 2 cups of coffee, which wouldn't be too bad, except we buy like Black Rifle and then Bones Coffee is another one, and their coffee, they're both of those brands is a little bit stronger, so probably take it down to 1 cup. But anyways, we're going to talk about the products. So I've got a basket of stuff. I kind of use this to go back and forth between upstairs and down here. I should probably think about bringing my makeup down here. Anyways, we've got palettes. I tried to pull out the oldest stuff that I kind of have, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to go in the order that I would put stuff on my face. So let's talk about some of the stuff I brought down so that if I do my makeup, which I'm not doing. So let's pull a couple of these things out, the skincare stuff, because I don't not actually put anything on my face. So let's talk about primer. And this actually I repurchased this year, and this is kind of what prompted this video. I had a ton of stuff expire like within the last 2 months, 3 months maybe. And it just seemed like everything expired all at once. And I am somebody that will keep stuff until it expires, but this is something that I repurchased. Mine wasn't expired per se, like it didn't smell bad and it still worked, but this one that I had previous, I had for 5 years, because I got it in an Ipsy bag, and it's a full-size product, but I got it when I was either pregnant with Diana or I just had Diana, and she's 5. So, but this is from Rimmel. This is their Stay Matte. It's a mattifying primer, but it's a pore minimizing, like smoothing primer that also is supposed to hydrate a little bit. So normally this kind of a primer, I tend to just kind of use on my nose and like in my T-zone. I'm somebody that struggles with when I wear foundation because my skin is dry. If I don't exfoliate, it doesn't want to adhere. So mattifying primers can help with that. Eyeshadow primers are also good. I have one in here that I will talk about that I use on my nose but any like oil tends to produce kind of around the edge, which will also cause stuff to not want to stick or lift. So I tend to just use this in this kind of zone, but it's a really good mattifying primer and it's my favorite. I have one from Huda Beauty and I just don't like it as well. And this one, it's like $3 or $4. Rimmel is still really, really cheap if you can find it. My Walmart has stopped carrying it in the store, but I can order it off of Walmart's website. So that's what I did. I just bought a new one just because mine was so old. I figured with the amount of stuff that I had to throw away. The other primer that I had previous that I had, and that one wasn't as old because I had repurchased it, was the Urban Decay, like their smoothing rose hip one. They've discontinued that. Mine expired. I had to throw it away, but those two were probably the primers that I've been using consistently for the longest amount of time. So we have that for primer. Let's see, concealer. I've been using this product for probably as long as I've had this. I have repurchased this. This is the second one that I've bought. This is the Color Correcting and Brightening Peach from Pixi. I have a hard time getting a hold of this. My Target doesn't always carry it. They used to have 2 shades. They have since gotten rid of the darkest one, so I think people just aren't buying this here. I don't know if Pixi was going to discontinue this or not, because like I said, I've had a hard time getting a hold of this, but this is a good dupe for the Becca under eye brightener. I think that one's a little bit creamier. This one is a little bit drier of a formula, but not by a lot. This is cheaper. But it's just an under eye brightener. I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, for concealers, I have a couple. And again, this, was this on the outside of the tube? Okay, I thought there was mold on that, but it's on the outside of the tube. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I have mine in light sand. I used to wear light medium before COVID. Obviously, I don't go outside anymore. So, super fair. I will tan, which is why I used to be able to get away with deeper shades, but I have repurchased this. I'm in light sand currently, and this is a good like skin tone match. It's a little bit lighter. Like this gives me a little bit of brightening, but this is a pretty good like skin tone match. But this again is one that I've repurchased. This is the 3rd tube. I've run out, and then like I said, I did have to get a lighter shade. My darker one, I think I gave to my oldest daughter when she was still here because I don't have any of my darker concealers anymore. This is another one that, this is probably my 4th tube. This is the Instant Age Rewind Eraser, and I wear mine in Warm Light 115. And again, this is a good, it's a little bit brightening, but it's not like super light on me. It's a good match. And again, I've had to go down a little bit in this. I think I used to wear one like 120, 125. I forget what the numbers are on this, but this is again my 5th tube. I do have another one ready to go because this is almost out. When I put the order in for this, I got another one of these and a couple other things. Another concealer that I really like, and again, I used to wear this in light medium, and I now buy it in light, which is 20, and this is the Neutrogena Hydra Boost. Emily Noel talked about this years ago, and this is another one that I've repurchased. I've got a fair amount of this in here, but this is a nice like stick concealer. Light, again, is a good skin tone match for me. It's hydrating, it's not drying. I'm somebody that suffers from really dark circles, so if you go too light with your concealer, like if you want super brightening, it doesn't always cover up the dark circles as well, because you need to conceal before you brighten. So a lot of times if I want like a super bright under eye, I'll go in with a little bit of this first just to kind of cover. Sometimes I'll use the color corrector with it, not always. I try and stay away from layering too much stuff anymore. I used to layer a bunch, but that can cause stuff to settle increase worse. So I try and not layer if I don't need to. And then I'll go in with like my ColourPop concealer is really, really light, just for some extra brightening. But this is a really nice like all over concealer. And again, used to wear light medium, now I have to wear light. So this is my second or third tube. I think my third tube, because I repurchased it in the light medium when I was still that shade and then had to go down a shade. So that's my third tube of that. Foundation. This is the one that probably I would have had before this was the Tarte, was what they call it, the face tape, the hydrating one. It used to come in a giant bottle with like a doe foot, like the concealer. They discontinued it. I was really sad. That was my favorite foundation. When that went away, I got the Wander Beauty. This is the Nude Illusion Liquid Foundation. I am in shade light, which is maybe a hair dark, but I feel like it gives me more of like a healthy look. Again, I used to wear light medium. Cannot wear that shade anymore. It was either light medium or medium. I used to be able to wear the medium shade. I cannot. They don't have a very good shade range of this. But if you can find a shade, it's really good. My esthetician friend, Michelle, this is the foundation that she wears too. So it's really nice. This is considered, I think it's a medium coverage, which I would say that's fair. It's a really thin consistency, and it's one of those with the doe foot, so you can kind of control how much you're spreading. You can do a lot or a little, but because it's so lightweight, it's not heavy, doesn't look cakey, but it does have, it claims that you can get full coverage with it. I tend to keep it more on the medium just because I use less. But like, this has a 12-month expiration date on it. I'm sure I've had this over a year. I had to repurchase this because, again, this shade that I had before was too dark, and I passed that along to a friend of mine that has a deeper skin tone. But like this, it says 18 months. And the bottle that I had before was like 4 years old. Some of, like this only has 6 months, and I guarantee you that most of my concealers are around the 2-year mark. Some of these should have the expiration date on this, and then some makeup, it's going to be on like the cardboard packaging it comes in. Yeah, like this one doesn't have anything on here, but I would say this is probably between 6 to 12 months. What does this say? 12. This probably doesn't have anything on it, but it's one of those, if it doesn't smell or isn't like moldy, I use it because I don't like wasting stuff. Like I still probably had like this much in the one that I threw away, and I'd had it for 4 years because I just use it right here. Like a little bit goes a long way. You don't need a whole lot. Stuff expires on me before I use it up, which is why I don't really do empties videos, because I don't have a lot of empty stuff. Powder, we're going to talk about this Flower Beauty one. And again, I don't know what the expiration date on this. Powder tends to have a longer shelf life just because it's a powder. This is the Satin Miracle Glow. This was recommended by Casey Holmes. I don't know if she still uses this, but I haven't used this in a long time myself. It has the little thing. Still smells fine. This is old. I've had this for years, but again, doesn't smell funny. And if it still works, I'm going to use it. And again, powder, especially loose powder, and I have a bunch. If I was a normal person and just had one, I probably would have used this up by now and purchased another one. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Coty, is it Coty Airspun? That you can get for like $5. This doesn't look as powdery or make you look as dry. It's a really nice powder. I just never used it all. This container's kind of clunky, so I think that's why I tend to use my Too Faced Born This Way powder, is just because it's got the little like sifter in it, and it, does that one have the sifter, or I'm thinking of the Tarte one? I tend to use my Too Faced one more. Here is a really old highlighter. This is Ofra. This is like their super old packaging. Does this have an expiration date on it? No, I would say this is probably 12 months. I've had this for years. This is probably 5 years old. I did get a newer one when I was still in beauty school in a BoxyCharm, but this one I still had and it's still good. Like you can see all of the product in there, but you can see there's a good amount of pan. This is in Rodeo Drive. I got a newer one and I felt bad giving my friend like my old grubby one, so I gave her the newer one, but there it is right there. It's really pretty. I mean, this has always kind of had kind of a flowery smell to it. To me, it smells like it always has. It still works, but again, that's probably 5 or 6 years old. Mike and I have been together for 6 years, so this is going to be around that mark. I pulled out this cream blush. I did actually use this the other day, but I've had this stick for a hot minute. And I don't know, this came in some sort of a box, probably BoxyCharm. This is from Milk Makeup. And again, I did finally use it the other day and it was really pretty. I pulled this out just because this is probably one of my cream blushes that I've had the longest. I don't know, what shade is this? Work, W-E-R-K. It's for your lips or your cheeks. I did have another one that was a little bit more sheer, but this looked really nice on my face. Like I just randomly pulled it out. I hadn't used this ever. I've had this for a hot minute and finally put it on. It looked really pretty, so I think I'm going to take that with me when we go to New Mexico. Another thing that I've had forever, and I think I had the shade Fawn. Never used it, had it for years, never opened it, finally passed that along, and then I got another shade. This is in Toffee. I think I liked this shade better. Finally used this because I hadn't used this either. This is a little bit warmer. I think Fawn would have been more of a contour. This is more of a bronzery shade. This is from LA Girl. I bought these when everybody was raving about these and then never used them. They just sat in my drawer. Finally used them the other day. We have some stuff in here. One of my oldest eyeshadow primers is probably the Ulta Beauty Matte Eye Primer. And this is one that I do like to put a little bit on my nose. Again, I don't have expiration dates on here. This one's probably 2 or 3 years old. I have repurchased this. I have a new one in my basket that I showed in my haul video. This is going to be my third one. The one that I probably had the longest before this was probably the MAC Paint Pot, but I finally had to throw mine away because it just dried out and was gross. This again is 5 years old. This has a shelf life of 12 months. This is from the Brow Gal. This came in a BoxyCharm. Brow Gal used to have her own website. She does not anymore, but you can still get her stuff on Amazon. This is in, what shade? I think this is in the darker one. I almost got the, oh, this is in shade 02. I almost got the light one when my hair was blonde, and I'm glad I didn't because my hair, I'm going to be dyeing it black here in a couple of days. So this one will still work for me, but I broke it like a year ago. I was really mad because I've had this forever and recently broke it, but it's still good. Still have a ton of product. I pulled out an eyeliner like that I've had for a while. This says 6 months, and I think it's still good. Yeah, it's still got product in it. I got this in a BoxyCharm. It's older. It still has product in it. I have a whole basket of eyeliners, and I don't go through them very fast. This is the Longwear liquid eyeliner in Blickety Black. So I just pulled that out because of the ones that were still good. I've had that one for a hot minute. A brow pencil, and this has been repurchased several times. This is the Brow Ultra Slim in medium brown. This is from Maybelline. This is a good dupe for Benefits pencils. This one's a little bit drier. There it is right there. There's not as much product in one of these as there is a Benefit one. So these are like $6. you're gonna have to repurchase some more. I can use a Benefit brow pencil for a good portion of the year. Like, I have to repurchase my Benefit brow pencils once a year. This one, 2 or 3 a year in comparison. So the 25 pencil once a year, or the $6 pencil 3 times a year, it ends up working out to about the same. But this is a good drugstore pencil. Again, I have a new one in a package ready to go. Mascara that I re-get, and I don't tend to have the full size often because my mom gives me these little minis. This is just the 01 Black from Clinique, the high impact. Been using this one for years. This is just a nice, like, everyday mascara. It's not going to give you a ton of volume. But it doesn't like get goopy or weird or transfer. I tend to wear falsies when I have makeup on, so I just need it to be black. But I like this for every day. And then I just pulled this out because I've had this chubby stick for a hot minute. This is from Mally. This is in the shade Berry. Still smells fine. It's got an does it have an expiration date on the package? It says 12 months. Guarantee you we're way past that. And it's still shiny and nice. Doesn't smell. I did go through and check all of my lipsticks because one of my Becca, my tinted lip balms had expired and it smelled. So I went through because I had to throw away, I lost a couple of primers, I lost foundation, I lost some lipstick, like everything expired all at once. I went through and like literally like sat there for an hour and opened everything and smelled it because yeah, a couple of my lipsticks smelled. So let's talk about powdered products. We did talk about the highlighter. So I have another little set, and again, this is 12 months, and I guarantee you this is like 4 years old at least. So this is the Manizer sisters. So we have Mary Lou, Cindy Lou, and Betty Lou. I use, obviously Mary Lou is just a traditional highlighter. I like Cindy Lou as a blush topper. And then Betty Lou I use as a shimmery like bronzer, because I like to go in with a matte bronzer. And then this is a like more subtle, like everyday highlight. If you're new, I like to go in with a matte bronzer or contour. There's the Cindy Lou one. And you could use this as a highlighter. Like I can get away with this as a highlighter on my skin tone, but I like glowy blush, so I will throw a little bit of this on top of a matte blush. And then again, the Betty Lou I like as the shimmery bronzer. I just think it gives a more natural, like sun-kissed appearance, so I like to go in with the matte and then blend out with something a little shimmerier. So there's those. I love the Mary Lou Manizer. I used to have a single and I gave it to my friend that I gave the newer one of these to. She had never used it, and I have a Mary Lou in this, and then I also have one in here, so I didn't think that I needed the single. I kind of wished I had kept it, but it's not necessary. Oh, and I also have her in one other. I have a quad with 4 of their highlighters that also has the Mary Lou shade in it, but I usually travel with this. This is one that I will bring with me. Again, this has 12 months. This I've had for a really long time. I've almost decluttered this a few times, but I've ended up keeping it. It's nice because like I can take both of these with me, and I've got a matte bronzer in here in Bahama Mama, which is one of their more classic shades. So you can see, and then I'll do this and then some of that on top, and it looks really pretty. And then I've got some blush shades in here, and these are Down Boy. I think I have a full size of this. It's just a classic pink that's really popular right now. And then there's Frat Boy in kind of a peachy shade. And those are both matte. And then we have Instain is a little more of a satin, but then you can go on top with the Cindy Lou and give you a little more glow. And then you've got the Mary Lou highlighter, and then you've got eyeshadows, which just standard. So generally I will travel with these and then my little matchstick trio, and I've got eyeshadow, blush, bronzer, everything I could want. And then another old one that I pulled out is, this was a Becca holiday palette. So it's got champagne pop that I use for an actual highlighter. And then again, a blush topper, like an actual glowy blush. This works as an actual highlighter. And then this one in truffle, again, I use as a shimmery bronzer. But that was another like holiday set that and it's got the glitter in it. Okay, so let's talk about eyeshadow. Let me clean this off one more time. I've got two palettes that I pulled out. I pulled out my Moon Dust palette, and my friend Lauren, who I gave the highlighters to, actually gave me the Moon Dust palette. She didn't like how sheer they were. I use them as toppers. I have used them on their own, but they're really nice for like eyeshadow toppers. So I've had this palette. I personally haven't had it that long, but I know Lauren had it for a while before I did. So this is probably 5 years old. It's got a shelf life of 24 months, but everything in here is still really nice. Lithium is one that I tend to use a lot. Granite is another like darker, and then Galaxy is like a light blue with tons of sparkle, and then Spectre is the light pink one in here. I use that one a lot. So really, really pretty. And I think that this kind of palette is a little more popular. Like it was popular when it came out, and then it kind of faded away, and now people are like wanting more like shimmer all over the lid, one shadow looks, light shimmer. So you can see how pretty and sparkly those are. And this is still good. And then I own the electric palette. I did buy this off of Poshmark. This has an expiration of 24 months. This is going on 10 years. It still has the brush. The lady that I got this from hadn't really used it. So it's basically brand new, and I have used this on my eyes. So recently, let me know if you want to see a look, but I like everything is still pigmented. I'm sure the pigmentation isn't quite, we'll do the green. I'm sure it's changed slightly just because of how old it is. I would be shocked. This hot pink shade in Savage was a really popular shade. I would be shocked if it was exactly the same as it was when it was brand new. And then let's do Revolt, which is a really pretty silver. So yeah, let me know if should I put 10-year-old eyeshadow on my eyes? Probably not. Will I? Yes. I have, and again, I have used this palette within the last year. So I know it still works. Like, it's not made my eyes burn or anything weird like that. It doesn't smell. It doesn't have anything weird on it. There's no like hard pan. I have had a couple of eyeshadow palettes that I did have hard pan and I did have to throw them away, but I will keep stuff. You can kind of see the state. And it doesn't smell like anything. So it's one of those things. Use it at your own risk. Is it a good idea to use expired makeup? Probably not. They put expiration dates on there for a reason, but it's one of those things, I think they're required to put some sort of an expiration date, because if you look on like your ABH palettes, some of those are like 6 months. Like those do not have very long expiration. And the only palette that I had to get rid of from those was my Subculture, but again, I bought mine used. So that's the only ABH palette I've had to get rid of. Again, use it at your own risk. I check, I smell things, I look at them, like especially something this old. I do sit, like like I just did. I sat down here and looked, like it doesn't have anything weird. There's no films, there's no mold. Again, eyeshadows can mold. Again, smell all your makeup. I had to sit there at my desk and go through and smell a bunch of stuff, which I hate having to do, but everything decided to expire all at once. So yeah, that is all of my old makeup. Let me know if you want to actually see it on my face, and if you want to see an eye look, I can do that this week. We're supposed to be going to New Mexico next weekend, but I should have time to film that. So yeah, let me know. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and hopefully I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye, everybody.